Hello YouTube world, it's Mara and welcome back to my channel that serves literally no purpose besides bringing you guys some mediocre entertainment and me joy. So, I don't even know how to get into this. This is a video I have been thinking of filming since the end of December, but I just didn't know if I wanted to execute it or not, or just keep it more private. But, you know, here we are. I don't know. And again, sorry for the spooky ookie magookie lighting. I just feel like it kind of makes it feel a little more vulnerable and like intimate when I film in this kind of lighting, and this is a more like vulnerable video. So let me get started where I even got the idea for this video. So Maddie Drospex, I love her, my queen. She is fucking amazing. Anyway, she did a video of how she was going to be emotionally unavailable for all of 2021. More so in like a dating aspect of like she wasn't going to be actively dating throughout the whole year and just giving herself all that love that she so overflowingly wanted to give to someone else. And she literally had the best year of her fucking life. And honestly, for me, the past 2 months, like November and December, I feel like have been immense healing months for me. Even to like last week, I have healed and gone over and realized how certain traumas in my life have affected me thus far, and just been so much more observant of my thoughts and why I think that way and ways to stop thinking. So just very healing months. And I've been listening to a lot of, I don't even want to say spiritual content, but like I guess a lot of healing content. And there's always this main point that they hit on. What I think even in most like religions and stuff like that, they're always, and like sermons and things of that nature, they're always like, you can't pour from an empty cup, like you fully have to show up for yourself before you can be there for anyone else, like you got to meet your needs before you meet anyone else's. I feel like that's so much easier said than done, because for one, we don't even really realize what we fully need until we unpack that trauma and we heal from it, and we're like, okay, what area, like really truly reflect on what areas in our life we're not showing up at 100%, and completely being honest with yourself on what you need and what showing up for yourself 100% even looks like. And it's also very difficult to even define showing up fully for yourself, because everyone's truth is different. So showing up fully for yourself is gonna look so fucking different from one person to the next. So my point being that I want to show up fully for myself in every aspect of my life this year. Like I genuinely want to be there for myself and not put my needs on the back burner, because I feel like for so long I think I was very much a people pleaser, and I would always make myself smaller to make more people comfortable, and it really hindered my self-confidence and even the way I viewed my own potential for so long, because I was scared to be too much. I was scared to be too much for the wrong people and have them obviously say things you're not ready to hear at the time. But okay, it's not that I'm getting emotional, but it's just like, wow, saying these things out loud really puts so many things in perspective of like, if you were too much for certain people, or if you had to make yourself smaller for certain people, they probably weren't the right people for you. But you only realize that now, obviously. But I'm so over that, and I'm so done with that, because I'm ready to fully be there for myself and fully allow myself the freedom to express myself how I want to, and literally become the best version of myself that I can become. So literally yesterday I got home from work and I like journaled, what does showing up fully for myself look like? And we're about to get into it, because this is a lot. Oh my gosh, literally this journal I've had, let me see, for like 5 years. Since 2017, the year after I graduated high school, which, let me tell you, were some dark times. But it's just so funny, because I'm sure I'll read it front cover to cover one year and just see all of the growth. But that's gonna take a lot of heart to be able to read that. Anyway, okay. So showing up fully, I broke it down in like many different aspects, but also some go in more detail than others. So for my mornings always for me have started and carried the energy throughout my day. So if I was having a fucking horrible morning, I definitely found it way harder to just switch my mood, as opposed to now I can definitely at least stop the escalating thoughts, but before I would just spiral. So I definitely want to have a very solid, strong morning routine that just puts me in really good mood and has great energy. And maybe once I've nailed that routine down, I'll do a morning routine. And obviously you guys know I work at a preschool, so for me it gets very difficult to stay present when I'm at work, because I'm constantly like, okay, we got to keep them on schedule. What's next? Making sure they're safe, making sure they're not hurting each other. Like, your mind is at a million different places at once, for good reason, because you want to keep these kids safe, and you want them to receive the best possible experience at school. So my goal for at work is to stay as present and in the moment as possible. And that might mean some days are great and I was able to stay so present and absorb every moment, but other days I was all over the place. So I'm also trying to be very gracious with myself on the days that I don't have that amazing blissful experience. Or the next aspect is what I consume, and consuming nutrient dense food, but also allowing myself to have a treat here and there. I think this one is definitely the one that will evolve the most, because I think the more you learn about food and the ingredients and stuff that you should and shouldn't be putting in your body, the more your diet evolves. I also want to try out different supplements and see how they work with my body. Things like that. That also entails, when I say like things that I consume, I mean like social media too. Like when we say consume, we always just go to food, but I mean like content that I consume, like stuff like that. And that means maybe even doing like a social media cleanse and just following and unfollowing accounts that don't inspire me, or accounts that generally I just am like, when I see your stuff, it just doesn't bring me any joy or pleasure in the moment. So that's another one. The next one is working out. I've always pretty much enjoyed working out. My goal is to work out 5 days a week and allow 2 days for rest, or just light movement days, which would mean like stretching or yoga or taking my dog for a walk, but nothing like my intensive training days. Again, for me, because I work a 9-to-5 job, setting myself up for the week is so vital, because of the fact that I'm at work for 9 hours of the day. Ideally, I would like to sleep for 8, so that already takes 17 hours out of the 24 hours of the day. Let me make sure that math is right because I don't fucking know. Okay, good, I was right. But, so that's 17 hours already gone. So that leaves 7 hours. Am I right? Oh my God. Yes, 7 hours. Jesus, who knew basic math would leave you? So 7 hours in theory sounds like a lot, but when I'm breaking it down, that's 7 hours to eat dinner, 7 hours to go work out, 7 hours to maybe pre-film a video, 7 hours to shower, get ready for the night before, the next morning, not the night before, the next morning. So to me, I really just want to prepare myself for the week ahead, so that way I'm not stressing out being like, oh my God, I have to catch daylight because I'm running out of time to film, or I'm running out of time to work out, or stuff like that. Like, I just want to feel like I'm fully ready for what the week entails, and also being able to provide content. So that means a lot of pre-filming and planning out videos, so that way I'm not scrambling in the moment. A huge important one for me is sleep, getting restful sleep, because I feel like whenever things get chaotic, sleep is the first thing that I'm like, I'm fine, like I will just go to sleep later and I can get this done. When in reality, I know damn well I don't function well off of less sleep, like at all. I don't do well with little to no sleep. Like, ideally, I'm a type of person who would like to get, I think 8 to 9 hours is like my sweet spot. Definitely no more than 10. But 8 to 9 hours is my sweet spot. So I don't know why for so long I tried to convince myself that I could live off of like 6 hours of sleep. Like, that's just not who I am. It's not who I am whatsoever. Not one bit. So I don't know why I thought that I could do it. I can't. I really am like, I need to get good restful sleep, get to bed at a good time so that I can have a good day tomorrow, because I already know that's such a huge thing that impacts me. So self-sabotage myself, like, that's so unnecessary. And I think a huge one is just saying yes and carving out time for things that genuinely bring me joy. Like traveling. I love traveling so much. I know that's kind of hard with the pandemic, but we'll do what we can, you know? And reading. I love reading. But again, it's something that I just cut out when things get chaotic. I'm always just like, oh, I can cut out my half an hour that I had planned to read and I'll edit a video instead or something. Like, I always would just self-sabotage myself and cut out things that genuinely bring me joy so that I could get something done that day, instead of like being like, it's okay, we can push it to tomorrow. Like, you know, like simple things like that I thought would be helping me actually hindered me, because I'm experiencing less joy, less bliss, less peacefulness, and just worrying and stressing about getting this done when I'm like, you know what, my brain and body have had fucking enough. Let's do something that's gonna get my mind off of that, and let's do something that's gonna bring me joy. The next, and I think final one, is setting boundaries and cutting out different elements of my life that no longer serve me. So I, for the longest time, didn't even know like what my boundaries were, what was a full body yes and a full body no. I would definitely, again, it just went back to my people pleasing, where I would just allow certain boundaries to be crossed because I didn't want to make people uncomfortable, and I didn't want to have those uncomfortable and awkward situations where like, this is a boundary, this is a strong, definitive no. And And as I'm going and healing traumas and just getting to know myself and getting to know what I stand for and what I value now, I look back and I'm like, wow, that should have been a clear boundary that did not get crossed, but it did, and I learned my lesson, and now I know better. And it's like sticking by those boundaries, because it's like, now you're aware that is a boundary, so don't let others cross it. Don't just throw yourself out the window and be like, he, she, they, them can do whatever, because I just don't. I just can't. Like, no, it's like standing up for yourself, because you're the only person you have. So yeah, it might be awkward and painful and weird in the moment, but I value myself a lot more when I'm putting myself first and setting clear boundaries. And then cutting things out of my life that no longer serve me. This goes to like all aspects of my life again. So social media, cutting out and unfollowing content that no longer serves me or inspires me. Makeup, clothes, food, practices that I used to do all the time that no longer serve me. So many different areas of my life. I just feel like I'm finally ready to fully show up for myself in every aspect of my life and see where life will take me. Like, that's literally the point of this, is to show up fully in every aspect of my life and see where life goes, see where things will end up at the end of the year. So I think I'm going to be updating you guys like quarterly. I probably should have like done this video at the very beginning of the year, but you know, it's still January, so in my head that's still like the very beginning of the year. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let's see where 2022 will go. Peace and blessings. I'll see you guys in the next one.